Well, good evening and thank you. It's been a long time since a room of 582 people gave applause for a banker, so truly thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in the year 2015, Bruce Bickel chose to retire from a 27-year career with PNC Bank. It's a retirement you have a chance to be reflective, and reflecting on Bruce's tenure with PNC, here's the word used to describe it: transformative. Transformative. He transformed the financial services industry in two very interesting ways, and allow me to describe what he did. In 1988, he joined PNC and was given an idea, and the idea was this: if our largest, most important charitable, educational, and religious institutions have access to world-class financial and investment services, what about our local schools and libraries and colleges and fire departments and trade unions who need that same type of world-class service? Can we give that to them? And Bruce helped create an organization called the Charitable Trust Department at PNC, and he, along with his team, did in fact prove that we could deliver these services profitably for the client, profitably for the bank, and transformed the way services were delivered to charitable and endowments. Transformative. Now, besides creating assets for these institutions, 10 years later, Bruce did something different. How else? He transformed another aspect of our business. Bruce went on to teach people not just how to increase their assets, but how to give those assets away. He created a practice called the Private Foundation Management Services that helped high net worth individuals, family foundations, charities to give away their money. To give away their money. There's a right way to do that, and there's a positive way to do it. And Bruce was able to inspire those people to help be philanthropic and give away their money. He transformed the business. That practice that he started has now been adopted nationally by bigger banks, by other institutions. He transformed the financial services industry. Now, how does someone's life prepare them to become an agent for change, transformative? Well, in Bruce's case, a native of Bickel, West Virginia, apparently a smart kid, a good student, a good athlete. He earned an appointment to the U.S. Naval Academy. He was there at a very interesting time in Naval Academy history. Any of you football fans and happen to know the years 1964, what happened in Naval Academy history at that time? They produced a Heisman Trophy winner named Roger Staubach, who played the position of quarterback. It turns out that the person who succeeded Roger Staubach was quarterback Bruce Bickel. Now, besides that, he also earned a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering. I have to get back to Roger for a second. You know, Roger Staubach had a passer rating. Back then, football was a little bit different. More run, less pass. But he had a passer rating in his Heisman Trophy year of 101. 1965, Bruce Bickel had a passer rating of 99. Only 2 points behind the Heisman Trophy winner. How do you like that? Football, electrical engineering, U.S. Navy. What does he do next? He becomes a naval aviator. He flies jets. He does a combat tour in Vietnam. Many of you may know Bruce's story that his aircraft was hit. He was inspired upon leaving the Navy to pursue a job with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He found time to pursue graduate studies with a Master's of Divinity and a Doctorate of Theology from Lutheran Seminary. He served as pastor of churches in Kansas and Illinois. He has done pastoral work here in Pennsylvania at our churches. He's done pulpit supplies. He has been an educator. But what's interesting about Bruce and all these steps along the way, Bruce is also a Christian. You see, you may say, well, that's obvious. He happened to be a football player who was a Christian. He was a naval aviator who was a Christian. He was a servant of God who was a Christian. He was a banker, senior vice president who was a Christian. But I think Bruce may want to turn that around. Bruce was a Christian who played football. Bruce was a Christian who served God. Bruce was a Christian who joined the financial services industry. You see, this abundant life that brought him to each stage of his life and into financial services, now to retirement, can you imagine a more abundant life? What a great life. And yet, how much more abundance yet to live? The Reverend Dr. R. Bruce Bickel, I'd like to introduce him to you tonight, and we can learn more and hear more about abundant living. Bruce.
Well, thank you, Scott. You honor me more than I deserve, but nevertheless, I'm very, very grateful to be associated with so many of my friends. And all of life is about relationships, and you, my friends who are here tonight, have made my life very, very rich, worthwhile, and meaningful because of the friendships, and I thank you for that. I'm also so honored to be a part of Lutheran SeniorLife, such a wonderful organization and a ministry because of who you are, what you do, and what you represent, and I'm just proud to be a part of that over the years. The thing I'm most excited about tonight is I want to tell you how much I appreciate the naming of this gala. This gala is called Excellence is Ageless. Now, I appreciate the title of that gala because it puts the emphasis on excellence and not on success. General George Patton said after World War II, success leads to failure because once you reach the top, you can only go down. That's the problem with success. You reach the top and you have only one direction to go, and that's to go down. I would add this. The real definition of your success is not how high you reach. It's how quickly you rebound when you do hit bottom. Now, our society and our culture teaches us that we must do something to become somebody. If you're going to be a person of value and worth, you need to do something big. So you've got to do something to become someone. I'd like to turn that around and say, we need to be someone so you can do something. We need to be someone so we can do something. And I say that because of this. Character precedes conduct, because who we are determines what we do. To pursue excellence is a character quality of excellence. I'd like to give you three things to think about being excellent. First of all, let me do a comparison between success and excellence. Success is defined by positional aspects and truth. Excellence is defined by personal. You can ask the CEO of your company what is his or her definition of success, and you will get a certain answer based upon his or her position. You then go to a department head, ask the same question, what is the definition of success? And you will get a definition based upon that person's position. And then go to your IT person, your HR person, your salesperson, and you ask them for the definition of success, and you're likely to get a different answer all along the way. You see, success is like chasing a cat up a tree. You don't know what limb it's going to go out on, and you don't know how to respond and pursue it. And so I'd like to turn that around and say, let's be someone so we can do something. Now, our culture tells us you've got to do something to become someone. Let me give you three things that I think are very important for us to pursue excellence in whatever position you have in your life. First of all, be respectful. Be respectful. Respect is giving honor and worth and value where it is due. When you study the great cultures of the world historically and look at them anthropologically, you realize this, that the great civilizations of the world deteriorated internally, not because of external forces, but because of internal forces, because they lost a lack of respect for 6 key relationships. Here are the 6 key relationships that you and I need to maintain respect for. First of all is position. That's authority. We need to show respect for authority. You may not agree with them all the time, but it is authority that holds things together. Be respectful for position. Secondly, be respectful for parents. You don't stop honoring your parents when you're 40. Parents were given us for a very good reason, to rear us to be wiser than the next previous generation. Respect your parents. Thirdly, respect people, primarily the elderly. Respect the elderly. Now, contrary to popular belief, the future of the United States of America does not rest with our children or our next generation. The future of the United States of America rests in one thing. Do we, as our generation, pass on the wisdom to the next generation? We need to show respect for the elderly, because if you don't respect the elderly, you'll never learn from their wisdom. There's great wealth in our country in the wisdom of the elderly. We need to respect them, because if you don't respect them, you won't listen to them. You won't have a teacher's heart or learner's spirit. Next, it's important to respect our peers, the ones with whom we associate every day, our co-workers, Let them see their worth. Let them see your value and see what happens to the relationships you have in your corporation or your organization. Show respect for your peers. And then show respect for your possessions. We're just managers anyway. We're just stewards. Money doesn't kill. Ownership does. We're just stewards. A steward is one who manages something else that somebody else gives you. And friends, God has given us so much to manage our own life, the resources that we have in our country. We just need to realize this, that we need to show respect for being a steward. You just manage what else that God has given you. Show respect for your possessions and show respect for your own personal life. Then lastly, show respect for property. Somebody else's property. Because what are they? They're nothing more than just a steward of the things that God has given them to manage anyway. So be respectful in these 6 key relationships. Position, parents, people, peers, possessions, and property. Next, be humble. Be humble. Humility is seeing the contrast between what I know that is perfect and the fact that I can't achieve it. It's seeing that which is perfect and realizing that I can't achieve it. Do you realize that humility is the basis of our self-confidence? Humility is the basis of our teacher's learning spirit. A humble person is a person who will have a teachable heart, a teachable spirit. If you're not humble, you're not going to learn. We need to realize this. Humility teaches us this lesson. That learning should not stop at knowledge. Learning should lead to living. And living should lead to loving. If you don't have a humble spirit, you won't learn those lessons. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. Humility is not thinking of yourself at all. The person who knows Jesus Christ well will be humble. But the person who knows themselves well cannot be proud. When you think you've reached the point of being humble, when you think you're humble, you've lost it. Be respectful, be humble, and be grateful. Gratitude is the spirit of contentment with what I've been given. The spirit of contentment with what I've been given. Gratitude is the greatest panacea for worry. Don't worry about things. Be grateful for what you have and don't gripe about what you don't have. Be grateful. Have a spirit of contentment because of what you've been given. Gratitude is much more motivational than griping, complaining, and whining. I grew up in Fairmont, West Virginia, about 90 miles down Route 19. And when I came out of the hills of West Virginia, put on my shoes and went to town, I always came to Pittsburgh. And my rite of passage for my brother and I, my older brother, was that when we were 12 years old, we got a blue suit. My 12th birthday, my dad drove me up Route 19 to South Hills Village, went to Kaufman's, and my dad bought me a blue suit. And on the way back down to Fairmont on Route 19, I said, "Dad, does the blue suit make me a man?" He said, "No, it just makes you look better." I said, "Dad, what is it that makes a man? What is it that makes a man?" And he said, "No griping, no complaining, and no blaming." No griping, no complaining, and no blaming. And I said, "Dad, how do you do that? How do you not gripe? How do you not complain? How do you not blame other people?" He said, "Bruce, you need to develop an attitude of gratitude. Because when you're grateful, you won't complain. When you're grateful, you won't whine. When you're grateful, you won't blame somebody else. Be grateful." Our character precedes our conduct, friends, because who we are determines what we do. Be respectful, be humble, and be grateful, because after all, excellence is ageless. Thank you very much.